Some 18 minutes after 8 here on the AM show. Now, on to a campaign that we started last year. Currently, more than 629,000 over and underage children are sitting in KG classrooms across the country. This is the outcome of a latest study by the Education Ministry on right age enrollment. The delay in right age enrollment, among others, forces school authorities to put overaged children in KG, causing unnecessary congestion and difficulty in teaching and learning. In most kindergartens here in Ghana, you'll find children aged from 7 to 13 years learning with, for instance, 4-year-olds. These are some of the issues raised in our latest Hotline documentary, The Launchpad, produced by Emefa Atiamwa Eli as part of a month-long campaign titled Enroll Me Now, aimed at promoting early childhood education.
Ghana's education policy says at age 4, a child should be in kindergarten. However, according to the 2016-2017 Ministry of Education's Management Information System, there are more than 600,000 children aged between 6 and 11 years who sit in KG classrooms, while over 350,000 are not in school at all. The Ashanti and Bonahafu regions have the highest over and underage children, with the least in the Upper West region. Children as old as 7, 8, 10 and 13 years are lumped with those between 4 and 5 years in the same classroom. The rationale for the action of the head teachers is to ensure the overage children don't miss out on the fundamentals they should have had at age 4.
As a word. Very good.
12-year-old Josephine Akbe is now in KG2. Compared to her classmate Frema, who is 4 years old, Josephine seems to be having it tough, catching up with classmates who are much younger than her. She struggled to introduce herself to me.
My name is Joseph Akbe. I am 12 years old. I am KG2.
Great, you did well. Let's take the last one, then you go to class.
My name is Joseph Akbe. I am 12 years old. My class is KG2.
Say it again.
My name is Joseph Akbe. I am 12 years old. I am KG2.
For Millicent Bobo, who is a KG2 teacher at the Ningo Presby B Basic School, teaching overage children is very difficult.
Looking at Frema like this, he's between the 4 years to 5 years. But looking at Josephine like this, she's older. So at times when you are teaching like this, she feels so reluctant and she thinks she's older than them and she can do anything that she likes. And at times too, she feels shy being the eldest among the class.
To enable every child be on the same page, the late starters who are found in kindergartens are thus occupying the limited space meant for those aged 4. This means the possibility of some of these right age pupils being left out of the classroom due to lack of space is high.
Very good.
This also means instead of perhaps learning upper class syllabi, the overage children are made to learn lower class syllabi to make up for the basics they didn't get.
So when you go home today, you tell your parents that you learned about the sound words. Again, sit down.
Despite the adage, age is no limit to education, it is also indisputable to say, if you start right, you get it right. Here is the Deputy Minister of Education, Samuel Edichum.
If you're a parent and you're saying to yourself, I did not go to any early grade education. In my time, there was no KG1, KG2, and I'm still fine. Times have changed. You were with peers who also never went to early grade schools. So you competed very well. But now, your children are going to meet others, if they don't go, who have had a head start. And with that head start, they will outcompete your child. So times have changed, and as a result, I will appeal to all parents to seriously consider early grade education as an important life-changing event in this 21st century.
On the benefits of rights age to enroll in school are key factors contributing to the late enrollment in Ghana. MFA Atiamwa Eli for JoyNews.
Let's learn more from the producer of this Hotline documentary, who is also my colleague, Emefa Atiamwa Eli, joins me in the studio. Emefa, Enroll Me Now we started last year, and this is where we are with this campaign this year. What's the plan?
Okay, so this year, last year we had a lot of outdoor engagements. This year in particular, we are varying it a bit. Instead of going outdoor, we are staying in studio, we are staying in the office. We intend coming out with a lot of engagement with stakeholders in education. This campaign is being championed by UNICEF in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and GES. So we'll be hearing more from them regarding what really the issues are and why we are having the campaign in the first place. Last year, we spoke to community members, even school children who have one way or the other had to start school late, and they told us their stories. So it's been a year. What has changed? What needs to be done? That is what we intend doing this year.
But obviously from that reports by the GES and from your own conversations, you say this year we won't go out, but you are doing a lot of the outings. Even from the conversation that you had, it's clear that's a 12-year-old in the same class with a 4-year-old, and that's not on. That shouldn't be happening.
Exactly. So, I mean, when you look at the whole situation, you can't really blame anyone because every child needs education right from the scratch. So if you have a child and the child has to go to school, our education system says that if the child has to begin school, then the child has to go to preschool, which starts with KG and even nursery, before you go to the basic, then to the tertiary, secondary, then to the tertiary. So if you have a child who has to go to school and you are not careful, and probably the child is older than the right age, which according to the Ghana education policy should be 4 years, you would have to start from the scratch. That is the challenge we are having now. The problem that brings is that those who are aged 4 and above, between 4 and 5 years, who are deemed to be at the right age, are having to share the same space with these overweight children. You can't say that because they are older than their peers, you not give them the education. They still need education. Otherwise, they'll be missing out on the very fundamentals that they need in their education. So that's the challenge, and that's the Ministry of Education and UNICEF with other partners are seeking to address.
Let's talk about the Hotline documentary. You've given us excerpt of that. What would we see more in this documentary?
Okay, in this documentary, I'll bring you up close to some children or individuals who have had the opportunity of going to school early at the right age and how that has affected them in their life. And we also get close to somebody who started school late and how that impacted his life. So they will be sharing their stories. Then we ask ourselves going forward, what needs to be done? Then we bring in the state actors who are concerned. What is government doing? What are development partners doing so that we can bridge this gap? That is what we are going to see in that documentary.
Okay, but it sounds to me as this is a campaign that we will carry every year because September is the main reopening date. It begins the academic calendar.
Exactly.
So this is something that our viewers would have to expect that we will do every year.
So essentially we are telling parents school begins tomorrow, right? Private schools will reopen tomorrow, and then the public schools reopen next week. So we are saying that if you have a child who is aged 4. You shouldn't say, I don't have money. You shouldn't say, I'm waiting a little bit more before you take the child to school. We are saying that that is the right stage for the child to be in school. So take the opportunity now. School has reopened. If you delay, well, you might not see the effects now, but later in the future, it has effects on the child. It has effects on you as a parent. It has effects on the school as well, wherever you are sending a child. Because as a parent, if you have a child age 4, you should be thinking about doing something. If you're a woman, you want to do something. Even a father, you want to do something. Go out, maybe work, find money. So you can imagine staying home or wanting to take care of a 4-year-old just to make up for another additional year or 2 before the child goes to school. It will definitely affect your movement and your plans. So you want to take opportunity. Now, fortunately, basic education in Ghana is free, or supposed to be free, though we know there are still issues with some cost elements, you know. So the opportunity has presented itself. Don't lose out, don't miss it. Let your child go to school. We are saying enrollment also. That is the voices of the children who are calling out to their parents who are not in school. That, please take us to school now. School has reopened. We need to be in school with our peers.
All right. This is not just limited to the AM show, nor the Hotline documentary. All our programming this month will have Enroll Me now.
So it's going to be on all our platforms, as you said, on TV, radio, online, every day throughout the month of September. We'll feed you with, we'll feed our viewers with issues relating to right age enrollment, why you need to enroll your child. You hear from the ministry, you hear from the partners, and we ourselves as journalists, because normally in September we say, my first day at school. So we'll be visiting school children who are now coming, enrolling in school the first time. We'll be sharing their experiences with you, how the situation is going on at the various public schools, the enrollment, the numbers, the issues with space, classroom. Even we are looking at the capacity or the caliber of teachers who are providing these instructional needs to these children at this age. It's not everybody who has that capacity. So we are looking at all of that. Do they need a form of training? What they are doing, is that what the syllabus says? What are the challenges? We are talking about space. Sometimes we still have schools under trees, which shouldn't be the case. You go to some communities, even though there are schools, the facility for KG is not there. So it means that those facilities have to be provided. So we'll be doing a number of stories to be sharing with our viewers, so they see what the situation is on the ground, what government is doing to make sure that every child who is at age 4 or who is at the right age gets the opportunity to go to school. We are saying that late enrollment is not good. It's not good. Enrollment has to be from age 4 onwards. So if you have to do it now.
Okay. And I think that this is good. Because the focus has been on double track and senior high. But before you even get to senior high, you have to start exactly. And that's why I love the fact that we're focusing on this area, and we're pushing it also very hard. I remember last year we talking about even what is taught, and that children like that. We had an MP, a member of the education committee, joining us in Nima, where we were based, talking about the contents of
even what they learn,
exactly what they pass on to the children.
You saw the story we just played, Josephine and Frema. Josephine is 12 years old and Frema is 4 years old. I mean, look at the difference in age. And they are supposed to be learning
more than twice.
learning things like maybe SAT is SAT. At age 12, Josephine ideally should be in class 6 or even GHS 1. So you can imagine how much she has lost.
True.
And under the circumstance, you can't say that you are moving her, you are moving her ahead just to join her peers at that stage. When you do that, she will lose out big time. So you want to take your time to take her through. But there's also a challenge in there. If you listen to the teacher who spoke in the story, Millicent Bobo, who is the KG2 teacher at Ningo Presby B Basic School, she was expressing the difficulty of having to do with these overage children in the same class with younger ones. So just feel like this. I mean, you can't blame her. She feels older among her peers. and now you are teaching her the things that her juniors are learning. It's like this thing, you know,
I remember,
and the kind of instruction. The teacher is supposed to assume that they are of the same age, they think this, but it's definitely not the same.
True.
It's a lot of a challenge for her to control the older ones, to probably, if I would say, for lack of a better expression, humble themselves, or to come to that level to get the instruction or what they are being taught.
Yeah.
It's a lot of challenge.
It is. I remember one of the people who also shared with us last year, same time in Nima, he talked about the fact that he was way older than the people in the class with him. And so sometimes it's either people will be teasing him, he would feel too old and too shy, you know, like I'm an adult. What am I doing in class 1?
It is very true.
Yeah.
In Josephine's case, for instance, when I tried interviewing her, I had a tough time getting her to.
We saw in that short clip that
exactly.
she was like taking it again.
Yes, I had to do it over and over. And maybe she would have gotten it at the first time we tried her, but she's feeling shy. You can understand. And are you trying to say that this other girl or this junior of mine is better at you? So it's natural. So they become timid. They don't want to do things so that they'll open up themselves for mockery or ridicule. They want to be in their corner, whatever you tell them. And when you do that too, you don't become confident. You're unable to express yourself. You can't socialize. But at that age, you need all of this to build on your future, to build on your personality. Absolutely. So if you don't get it from the scratch, definitely it will affect you.
Yeah, I remember engaging some people last year who somebody also said that I almost stopped school. I think there was one person who did.
Yes.
Because what's the point?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's Joel.
Yeah.
Yes. I had the opportunity to speak to him again in this, and Joel's story is very touching, very, very touching. And for him, growing up as a child, as we all do, they ask you, what do you want to be? I want to be an engineer. I want to be a medical doctor. I want to be a pilot. He used to express those sentiments when he was young. But now, though he's employed, he's doing something now. He tells me that even what he's doing, he sees it as grace, like a divine opportunity, because it was not by dint of probably his progression through the academic calendar and all of that.
That's gotten him this far.
No, he didn't even think that he would have been able to make it. And for him, he blames all of this on the fact that he didn't start late. And the issues
he didn't start early.
Yes, sorry, he didn't start early. The issues regarding lack of confidence and shyness, he says it. And if you see the personality, you can see that this is not somebody who is the outgoing type. And he says it's true. I remember when I was in class 1, he goes like, he said he started class 1 around age 12. And just when he entered the classroom, the friends were like, the mates were like, class 1, Papa, class 1, Papa.
True.
So he would want to sit at the back of the classroom just so nobody would make fun of him. But unfortunately for him, in order to get him pay attention in class, the teachers bring him to sit in front. You can imagine how that feels like. It was so obvious.
Yeah.
That would even put more eyes on you. You know, so I think it was a trying moment for him.
Yeah.
And he went on to say that because of that, he didn't really like going to school. You understand? So here he comes and he sits in front.
Yeah.
So instead of doing that, he would prefer staying. He would dress all right from home as if he's going to school.
But he will not end up in the classroom.
He will not end up in the classroom. And he ended up dropping out eventually.
Yeah.
You see, so it is real. We don't seem to pay attention to it. But I think the better we look at it, the earlier we look at it, the better for
all
us.
of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this is what we seek to highlight in Enroll Me Now, which is produced by my colleague here, MFA. MFA, challenges producing this hotline documentary, for instance.
Okay. So you know, it's very difficult working with children. Okay, the focus is on KG.
Yeah.
And when you want to tell the story as it is, it's not that easy.
I know.
So you want a particular kind of response. It's not that you are making them act it. It is real. But when they see the camera or when they see your recorder, and for them to relive the situation, it's very difficult, you know. So you would have to do it over and over and over before you get it. And sometimes to even getting the opportunity to speak to some of the stakeholders in charge is very broad.
True.
So they go like, okay, so I am in charge of this, so do this. You'd have to go round before you eventually get 1 or 2
Go and come. Okay.
But
you've done well.
Yeah.
You've done well.
Yeah.
So because, you spearheaded this last year and we're on it again this year.
Yeah.
When is this hotline documentary showing?
Hopefully tonight at 8:30 p.m. on the JoyNews channel as we have now. Later in the week on Thursday, it will be on radio, on the hotline belts,
on the Super Morning Show.
On the Super Morning Show. But throughout the week, in fact, throughout this month, we'll be doing a lot of stories, sharing with you interviews with those concerned, what they are saying and what has to be done.
All right. Okay, MFR, we'll leave it here. But our partners, the people that who are supporting us to bring this on television, will also be on our programs.
Precisely. That's from UNICEF, Ministry of Education, and the GES.
Okay. All right. So there will be more later this morning and throughout the month of September. So please join us. You may not have a child necessarily, but you can also add your voice so we can get all children who are 4 and above to start school at an appropriate age, which we're told by the Ghana Education Service.
If you have a grandchild, if you have a niece and nephew, neighbors who are not in school, those children, tell their parents it's time. Take them to school. Take them to school. Take them to school.
MFR, thank you.
You're very much welcome.
And please make sure you watch the Hotline documentary, the launch part later this evening. Stay with us. You're still watching the AM show.